Make it make sense, because I'm like, child, am I talking to myself? Anyways, all right. So this was sent to me by one of my subs that be trying to send me all the stuff that got to do with LGBT, be wanting me to cover it. I said, "Ooh, you messy, but child, let's talk about it." All right. So this mother is upset at the dean at her son's school because she feels like he publicly humiliated her son by making him hug and hold hands with another boy in front of the whole school as punishment. All right. And this is her response.
So an incident happened Monday concerning my 12-year-old son where his dean caught himself bullying my kid and made him do some inappropriate stuff that I went up to the school yesterday and lost my shit. Okay, first of all, my son was play fighting in the lunchroom with one of his friends. And as a result of that, the dean thought it was appropriate to make my son hold hands with the young man that he was play fighting with and threatened him with suspension if he didn't hold hands and stand in front of a lunchroom full of students. Swing hands together. He then proceeded to make my son face the young man, hold their hands like this while they looked at each other, while other students laughed and ridiculed my kid, talk about y'all make a cute couple. He then made my son and the young man walk hand. He then proceeded to tell my son and his friend to walk up to the second floor, hand in hand, and walk through the hallway on their way to class. If anybody was to say his name or his friend's name, he had to turn around and hug this young man every time somebody was to say their name. I don't know what type of homosexual stuff you are on, or why you feel as though as a grown-ass man you want to see two young men lock hands and walk in a hallway. But the way you humiliated my child, I'm going to make it a point to humiliate you every chance I get. I'm going to bully the shit out of you. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. I'm going to make you pay for the same way you made my son feel. I'm going to make you feel every chance I get. That's why in front of all the students yesterday, I called you all types of bitch-ass niggas, because that's what the fuck you are. Aside from me bullying you, I'm going to go to the furthest extent of the law to make sure that you understand that you shouldn't be working with children.
All right. So partway through her speaking, her sound kind of went low. That wasn't me. That was her putting her hand over the thing. Number one, she claims that they were play fighting. I wasn't there. I'm just listening to her account. I haven't heard the dean or whoever, but something tells me that it wasn't just a play fight. That, because if they were just play fighting, right? Because the play fight means that we're both playing. We're both playing and we're both like horsing around. Something tells me that it wasn't a play fight. It seems like it may have started maybe as a play fight, but somebody in play fights, we know that play fights turn to real fights, and somebody on the other end of it got mad or whatever, and it was getting heated. And to resolve it, he made them hold hands like that. To me, that's something that I've always seen growing up, as like when two kids are fighting or they're horsing around, or they're like, you have like siblings, right? And the siblings will be like constantly bickering at each other, or constantly like getting into it, and or picking at each other, and parents will normally like make them hug or hold hands to kind of get them to get along. I don't really see it as homosexual as she's trying to say, but again, I'm not there. I only get her account of it. To me, I don't really see that at two boys 12 years old. Like, I don't because that how she's labeling as, oh, they were just play fighting, but he made them hold hands. I don't see why they would have to hold hands if they're play fighting. I don't know, but according to her, she feels as though it was, him, he shouldn't be around kids. He's doing something that is considered homosexual. And everybody has different viewpoints of what they find to be that. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that it's inappropriate for the dean to make 12-year-old boys hold hands after play fighting? And do you think that that is making them do a certain type of act that is inappropriate? Um, let's look at what some of the comments have to say, and let's read this. It says, Lizzie says her son was play fighting with a friend, and as punishment, the dean made him face the other boy and hold hands with each other in front of a lunchroom full of other students. After the students told the boys they made a cute couple, the dean then made them walk the halls hand in hand and hug each other anytime either of their names were mentioned. Lizzie says she now plans to humiliate the dean every chance she gets and take legal action. She did admit to cursing him out publicly in response to his actions. She also notes that the incident is part of the reason children grow to not respect authority. All right, so let's read some of the comments. It says, just remember, ladies and gentlemen, she is allowed to feel the way she feels about anything when it comes to her son. Let's see some of the replies. Somebody said, and we allowed to judge her. All right. Another person says, and her feelings are invalid. Another person says, what? So she can claim something is gay when it's not because it's her son? Nah. Another person says, yes, keyword her son. And then another person says, and we are allowed to call her stupid and invalidate her feelings. Another person says, basically, the dean says, since y'all can't keep y'all hands off each other, here you go, hold hands. Which, to me, that's kind of what it sounds like. You know, this is what it sounds like. It sounds like an old school way of getting them to cut it out. Like, you know, but let's listen. Somebody said, it's given when you play fight with your cousin or siblings. Now y'all have to hug it out and get along. Another person says, parents making excuses for this are wild. That's not his child and that's not his sibling. The fuck? And then another person says, I understand where you're coming from. Another person says, there's absolutely nothing sexual about this, and it's weird that she tried to make it out to be that. This was clearly a y'all want to act like enemies, I'ma force y'all to stick together type of thing. Another person says, I would have just gotten suspended. Another person says, she's not tweaking. The dean could have made the boys do push-ups or some. Come on now. And then somebody replied, or a handshake, LOL. And then another person says, hold on. She isn't sexualizing holding hands. The problem is a grown man demanding two little boys walk doing something that they are not comfortable doing. Not only that, they are walking around humiliated and uncomfortable. If I was the mother of that little boy, I would feel the exact way. If kids are saying that they will make a good couple, don't you think that would make him feel uncomfortable? I swear y'all pick and choose what to hear. Do we not remember what it was like being in school? Did you not hear her repeat what other kids were saying about her child? No? Oh, okay then. All right. And then somebody said, kids are made to do many things they don't want to do. How is this too far? Another person says, they teenagers, ish is unacceptable. Put them in detention. Stop forcing teenagers to hand because they playing. Another person says, I don't know why y'all think this is weird. Then she proceeds to bully someone like, what sense does this make over holding hands? She is the problem. These accusations she's making are ridiculous. Back then, it was an acceptable punishment. Y'all always offended about everything and never ashamed. They should have expelled her son. Another person says, a 12-year-old is a teenager, question mark, just curious. And then the main person, they replied and said, kids aren't made to be treated in such ways where their emotions are being overlooked. Just because you're an adult and they're a kid, you're telling me that you will ignore the feelings of your child before your own grace because they were made not to have emotions. Children are shown discipline and that's okay, but sometimes the way that it is delivered is not the right way. The dean could have done something different in which did not humiliate the child. If you look on the woman's page, she said that they were slap boxing and that's not fighting. they could have been a different approach to the situation. Now, I'm not going to negate the fact that it could have been a different approach. I think that, this isn't the only approach that he could have taken. He could have sent them to detention. He could have taken a different approach. And I do agree that if the kids are saying they make a cute couple, that is something that, clearly a boy would be uncomfortable with or whatever. So I'm not going to negate that. I just don't think initially it didn't sound like a homo thing. Like, it sounds like in hindsight, yes, something could have been different, but it sounded old school to me. But I'm not negating, could he have tried other means? Yes. Could he have sent them to detention? Yes. Could he have done other things? Yes. But, another person says, the comments are shocking me because I'm seeing that some of y'all are okay with his choice of discipline as a black boy mom. This would have pissed me off too. What does being a black boy mom mean? Like, why does black, like, why does she emphasize black boy mom? It says he emasculated these boys and tried to humiliate them amongst their peers. She's out here trying to raise a confident young man, I'm assuming, and you got grown men pushing homosexuality onto him. Another person says, I'm a boy mom and I'm absolutely with her on this one. My son would have never did it, period. And he would have to have them call me immediately. Another person says, holding hands is not sexual, ? What the F? I would hate to be a straight man. Another person says, you can actually report this as child abuse. They will investigate it because anytime you force children to touch each other and they're not comfortable with that touch, it is child abuse and a violation of their rights. Remember, any touch that a child is uncomfortable with is inappropriate and abuse. Somebody said, whoopings too, ? Good. These kids are living the dream. That's why they stealing cars and shit. They have too many rights. Another person says, children have too many rights, ? So what rights should be taken away from them? And you should want your children living the dream, but I guess you think they should be living in hell instead. Another person says, sure, whipping, LOL. That's a charge, child abuse, especially if they going to school with marks. Oh, shoot. She said, exactly. I feel so bad for some kids. Their parents see them as little slaves that have no rights. Another person says, what rights do kids have? Only right they have is to do what their parents say. A kid doesn't run nothing. Why didn't his daddy go deal with this? Men, please get involved. Now, I'm not a parent that thinks that my child doesn't have like a voice. So I'm not one of those ones that feel like a child is just like, obviously do as I say, because I'm not playing. But I do take my child's voice into consideration too. Like, I'm not one of those parents that think that, their feelings are invalid or what they think or feel or, their emotions. I don't invalidate emotions. Like, that is considered, but still, you're going to do right from wrong and you're going to obey what I say. But it is not going to be one of those, situations where a parent just don't consider their kids' feelings at all and just, so but yeah. So someone says, I don't know about the homosexual, but it was definitely inappropriate and humiliating. Another person says, these comments justifying the dean lets me know how doomed we are. Another person says, just remember, ladies and gentlemen, she is allowed. Oh, okay, I hate when the comments start to repeat. But anyways, so this was something that was sent to me, and it had a lot of people speaking about it. But you guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you feel like it was along the lines of child abuse? And do you agree or disagree with the mom? Let me know what you guys think. Let me see if there's anything else going on that we want to talk about before we get out of here. And I don't know why I've been so stuffy lately. Let's see. Oh, that was a story where a girl was dancing on her op grave. Crazy work. What else? Oh, Janet Jackson's not gonna be in the Michael Jackson's movie, and neither is Diana Ross. Trial, interesting, interesting, interesting. A lot of people commenting on Chris Brown. Child, we'll cover more topics in another live. But I just wanted to come touch bases with y'all, speak to y'all about some things. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all for watching. If you guys have not hit that subscribe button, definitely hit the subscribe button. And what is your thoughts about all of the things that we talked about? What is your thoughts about David and Celeste? What is your thoughts about the woman and her child? And what is your thoughts about Brian McKnight? Let me know down below. I'll talk to you guys on the next video.